Welcome back, and it's time to queue up Sanjeevani. On a day we've crossed the 72 crore mark in terms of vaccinations. Jab and cab are important aspects, ladies and gentlemen. COVID appropriate behavior, that's cab and jab. And of course, that's the COVID-19 vaccine. PM Narendra Modi earlier in the day chairing a high-level meeting on COVID-19 situation in the country, taking stock of the jab drive. During the meeting, the Prime Minister reiterating the need for ensuring that everybody gets vaccinated. He's also interacted with several bureaucrats, including the Health Secretary, Home Affairs Secretary and PMO officials. Other top officials and union ministers were also present. Meanwhile, with over 67 lakh vaccine doses being administered in the last 24 hours, India has crossed the 72 crore jab mark. In fact, 46 lakh people were administered with their first dose, but more than 2 million people were given their second dose. Runjun Sharma now joining us. Runjun, so India has already, as policy, decided that unless all our people are vaccinated, there is no more export of vaccines which is happening. But more importantly, this target of getting everybody eligible above the age of 18 vaccinated by 31st December. How are we on that target?
Very good, in fact, Anand. When you look at the last month, it's been an excellent month as far as vaccinations in the country are concerned. At least 3 times we vaccinated in a single day over 1 crore people. The infrastructure of vaccinating similar amounts of people every day is in place as per the government of India. In fact, another milestone has been that India has crossed the 50%. In fact, over 50% of the people have received their first dose, which has been a significant development last month. So the last month has been extremely good. We have a couple of more vaccines that we're expecting. Zydus, for example, which will be administered not only in adults, Anand, but also in adolescents. Remember, the government now, in fact, an expert panel is chalking out what adolescents will be eligible, what comorbidities will be a part of it, and so forth, since many schools also are now opening. But with the pace that the government of India is now going, several states like Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, for example, where they've in fact covered 100% of the people, the 100% of the population, the first dose, it looks like that the government of India will be able to achieve that very, very ambitious target of vaccinating the entire adult population by the end of the year, Anand.
Right, and the other aspect is now about how soon the vaccinations will be ready for those who are between 12 and 18 years. That's the next vulnerable group, and especially with many predicting the onset of the third wave very soon, towards the end of September, early October. Thank you for your inputs, Runjun. Meanwhile, we started the campaign. Network 18, in partnership with Federal Bank, Apollo 24/7 and United Way Mumbai, started this entire effort to go and identify 5 of the worst hit districts across 5 states and cover at least 500 villages across these 5 districts. And over the last 3 months, we've been able to do that, ladies and gentlemen. It all started with Amritsar. Here's a quick check. Amritsar was lagging behind. Amritsar was slow. But then it seems to have picked up the pace, and Sanjeevani seems to have done its bit.
Network 18 and Federal Bank's vaccine awareness campaign against COVID-19 has been working on the ground in 5 of the worst affected districts. And now today we are in the state of Punjab in Amritsar district at a very famous village right at the border with India and Pakistan. We are in Attari today. And joining us today, first of all, is Dr. K.C. Thomas, the Vice President HR from Federal Bank. Sir, your first impressions being on the ground and the work that is being done here to ensure that, every person in this district is getting vaccinated.
Yeah, it's a great feeling here to be here in Attari, especially because we are on the borders. And what I understand is that the expectation or the targets that we had for vaccination in this district of Amritsar is already achieved. That indicates the willingness of people around to accept the vaccination, though there was a lot of resistance in the beginning. So the vaccination is going great, and we are now exceeding the targets. My hope and my wish is every person here receives the vaccination and fight against the COVID.
पहले हमें लोगों की तरफ से काफ़ी जो ना रेजिस्टेंस आ रहा था कि दे वर नॉट विलिंग फॉर द वैक्सीनेशन, लेकिन अब ये जो यंगस्ट हैं, जो NGOs हैं, बहुत काम कर रही हैं। इनके अब लोग बहुत, उनका जो कहने के माइंड जो बहुत चेंज हो चुका है। दे आर नाउ विलिंग फॉर द वैक्सीनेशन, और सबसे ज़्यादा वैक्सीन जो अब है वो रूरल एरियाज में ज़्यादा लग रही है।
Initially what we had faced was a complete negative response wherein the community members were not willing to even hear anything about COVID. And that was the first barrier that we had to cross, which then later revealed that there was like a lot of vaccine hesitancy in people because they thought this was a myth. We had done multiple levels of meetings. We had to break that barrier first to let them understand that this is something which is serious, this is happening. So we had to take help from village representatives, of someone who's been affected by this previously from the community.
Are sanitizers harmful? Do vaccines modify your DNA? Can they infect you with COVID? Are these some of the questions that are on your mind? There's a space where all these queries can be answered. As part of Network 18 and Federal Bank's campaign, a WhatsApp helpline has been launched. All you have to do is WhatsApp on the number 7977773753 and you'll promptly receive the answers. Information which has been verified and cross-checked. So go ahead, WhatsApp your questions on COVID and get all the information you need. The number is 7977773753.
आपने टीका लगाया क्या?
टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। वो जरा टीका 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 लगाया क्या? लगवा ले चुमन जरा सहले सहले, तू सबसे ये कह ले है जनहित में जारी मिलती क्या डरना, ओ निडर टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा। टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। वो जरा टीका 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 लगाया क्या? टीका लगा, वो जरा टीका लगा। जब अपनी बारी आए टीका लगा।
To Uttar Pradesh now, ladies and gentlemen. AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi is facing major backlash as he campaigns in the state ahead of the assembly elections in the state. A fresh FIR has been lodged against Asaduddin Owaisi for allegedly disrespecting the national flag by keeping it wrapped up instead of hoisting it. The Barabanki police had also lodged an FIR against him over his inflammatory speeches. The police also accused Owaisi of flouting COVID norms and guidelines.
थाना कोतवाली क्षेत्र अंतर्गत मोहल्ला कटरा चांदना में AIMIM के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष असदुद्दीन ओवैसी का कार्यक्रम चल रहा था, जिसमें कोविड-19 और जो परमिशन दी गई थी उसके शर्तों का खुला उल्लंघन किया गया। इसी क्रम में सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बिगाड़ने हेतु भड़काऊ भाषण भी दिए गए, जिसमें कहा गया कि राम से नहीं घाट में 100 साल पुरानी मस्जिद को प्रशासन द्वारा तोड़वा दिया गया तथा उसका मलबा भी वहां से पूर्ण रूप से हटा दिया गया। उनका यह वक्तव्य वास्तविकता से बिल्कुल परे था। यह वक्तव्य देकर उन्होंने एक समुदाय विशेष को भड़काने का एवं सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बिगाड़ने का कार्य किया है।
देखो, उत्तर प्रदेश में चुनाव आ गया है, कई राज्यों में है लेकिन उत्तर प्रदेश बड़ा राज्य है और उस चुनाव में अलग अलग लोग अपनी किस्मत आजमाने के लिए जो है वो भटक रहे हैं और भटक करके जो है वो अपनी भड़ास निकाल रहे हैं। लेकिन इस बात का उनको अच्छी तरह एहसास है कि उत्तर प्रदेश की जो धरती है वो इस तरह के जो गुमराह करने वाले, हाहाकार मचाने वाले बयान बहादुरों पे किसी तरह का कोई भी अटेंशन नहीं देती।
देखिए, बहुत सारी पार्टियों के, बहुत सारे नेताओं के कई वक्तव्य आते रहते हैं। जहां तक बहन मायावती जी के नेतृत्व में बसपा का प्रश्न है, हम परम पूज्य बाबा साहब द्वारा निर्मित संविधान को मानते हैं और उसके अनुसार एक धर्मनिरपेक्ष लोकतांत्रिक समतामूलक समाज बने, ये हमारी कोशिश रहती है।
Pranshu Mishra, UP Bureau Chief, joins us. Pranshu, BJP versus AIMIM was something which was about to play, but now it's emerging as a BSP versus AIMIM. And even Mukhtar Abbas, the Ansari, Mukhtar Ansari, he's also the latest in that tussle between the BSP and the AIMIM.
Well, yes, AIM is a factor which you can say is pitched against everyone. BJP, it is very obvious, Owaisi goes on the stage and he actually lashes out against the Bharatiya Janata Party. But the real story also is that, he's equally harsh against the BSP and the Samajwadi Party. So he's a factor who is going to impact everyone, from BJP to Congress, BSP and Samajwadi Party. Recall what Owaisi said in his press conference a couple of days back in Lucknow. He said, why do, Akhilesh and Mayawati don't speak on the issues which are close to the minorities' heart? Why these so-called secular parties are moving towards the soft Hindutva line? So in his firing line is everyone, BJP and the non-BJP parties. And that's the reason why, that's the real politics of Owaisi. Owaisi, even if he's not able to perform as per his expectations in UP, he may not win even a single seat in Uttar Pradesh, but he can actually change the arithmetic on several constituencies. In 2017, you analyze the data and you'll see that even in their defeat and in a very small capacity, because of AIM, BJP won 4 seats and Samajwadi Party lost 4 seats. So I think there's the story for the AIM, and he's going to be a factor, a deciding factor for everyone, BJP, SP or the Congress Party.
And if it is the Samajwadi Party who are dented, interestingly, it's the Samajwadi Party which has largely decided to refrain from making any comments or even considering Asaduddin Owaisi or even paying heed to what he is saying. Pranshu, thank you for your inputs. Running out of time here on the Nation at 5, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a break as we end the show and we cue a viewpoint on the other side. Stay with us.